All right, here we are. The inaugural, is that the right word? The inaugural regular season awards for the QuadR Wrestling Report. All right, so we haven't coordinated completely here, so we have some categories, and some of them I came up with contenders, and then Roy's going to have to, on the fly, determine who is the winner of the various awards. So anyway, before we get to the awards, I want to recognize some wrestlers that toed the line and accomplished things. So this is the In the Streets Award or recognition. So these are the wrestlers with the most total matches this year. Okay. So lots of, we got Andrew Riel from Brown, 30-4 with 34 matches. Dominic Ferraro of Edinburgh had 34 matches as well at 149 pounds. James Conway, Franklin and Marshall had 30 matches, as did Devin Dawson for Northern Illinois. And Aiden Wallace from Duke had 29 matches. Pretty cool, getting after it. Those are like what everybody had, you know, like 10 years ago or something. But there's still some people who are hitting the tournaments. The pin leaders, so heavyweight very highly represented in the pin leaders, as probably true most years. Vincent Miller from Columbia had 11 falls. Joe Curtis from Columbia at 184 had 10. Malachi Duvall from George Mason at 184 had 9. James Campbell from Michigan State had 9 as well at heavyweight. Alex Semenko from Brown at 285 also had 8 pins. Not that many, right? I mean, back in the day when they had like those like pinners and stuff, like the Askrens and stuff like that, where I mean,
100 careers, over 100 careers.
Exactly. Like leading the league, it's like complete games in baseball or something, right? Like 2 leads league now, and guys used to have like 20 of them or whatever, different eras. And then your tech falls. So tech king this year was Younger Bastida, 13 tech falls. Ben DeVino of Ohio State had 11. James Conway, prevalent on these lists. Franklin Marshall had 11 tech falls. Wyatt Henson at Lock Haven had 10. And your guy from Stanford, Daniel Cardenas, had 9. Again, doesn't seem super high numbers, but I guess you wrestle less matches, you get less tech falls. Wanted to recognize our regular season leaders for matches and falls and tech falls. All right. Breakout star. This is candidate number 1 here, Roy. You got to think about this for you. Okay. There's 3 candidates for breakout star. Aaron Seidel, 13-1, 10 techs, Midlands champion. I'm not sure that you can treat breakout any way you'd like. I kind of feel like breakout has to be someone you weren't necessarily either it wasn't completely on the radar or for one reason or another. So I mean, Seidel's good, but he was not, you know, he lost to Forrest and like he's just not as big a name, right? Not as, I mean, those young guys who do the freestyle real heavily and things like that tend to be like more on the radar than these like really good folk style kids who. All right, so that's 1. Number 2, Jackson Joy. Jackson Joy is 25-1, PKLV champion, 21 bonus wins. All right, and he is ranked number 2, undefeated all the way up to the last duel where he lost to Coy Biskins. Number 3 is Jax Forrest. I spent the first semester in high school and 10-0, 90% bonus. Got some top 10 wins and impressive top 10 wins. Not just winning matches, but some dominant ones in there. But Seidel and him was a super competitive match. The honorable mentions for the breakout star include Marcus Blaze, Ladarian Lockett, PJ Duke, Coy Biskins, Sergio Vega, and Ben DeVino. Anybody I forgot?
Oh, anybody you forgot? Come on, Angelo Posada.
No, yeah, I guess that's true. All right.
He's the 1 seed in the ACC. But no, this is a great list. Okay, so I'm picking between these 3 choices. Let me go in backwards order. So Jax Forrest, lots of intrigue about whether he would even wrestle in college this season. He's looked awesome, but the one mark kind of against him is he was winning college opens when he was a sophomore in high school and was on the U.S. world team. So I'm not sure that he's like breakout.
I know, breakout in the sense that you didn't expect him to wrestle in college this year, but yeah, he's not a surprise to any, for sure.
Jackson Joy also has had an awesome year. He took that 1 loss L to Coy Biskins. He probably had the breakout match when he teched Larkin in the finals of CKLV in the period. If the category was breakout match, like, whoa, who's this guy? I think Jackson Joy would get it. And then Aaron Seidel, who that was like a name that people were saying, and they're like, he's really good on top. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, that works for like a month or 2.
Right.
People like kind of figure it out. I mean, even Spencer Lee got a little bit figured out. As good as he was, He took some L's, but I would say that I did not expect him to. He's the one that surprised me the most in terms of really, really beating really good people. And he took a loss to Forrest, even though, if I recall, he won the takedown battle. In
Yeah,
that
3-1. Yeah.
And in this era with 3-point takedown, it's kind of hard to.
2-1 maybe. Yeah, he lost it though. Yeah.
Right. So, and as a Virginia Tech, man, Virginia Tech is just making moves, man. They're really, really good soon, or should be. The future is unknowable. So for my breakout star, the person I wasn't even thinking that much about, I'm going to pick Aaron Seidel.
All right. Congratulations, Aaron Seidel. You are the inaugural QuadR Wrestling Report breakout star of the awesome. All right. And all these wrestlers are phenomenal.
Just add one more thing.
Yeah.
He went from not on my list to on my list of like appointment watching. I mean, he's really, really good.
Yes, he is. He's fun to watch wrestle. Almost everybody on this list is pretty fun to watch wrestle.
But I think Joy and Forrest were already on my list.
All right. So the best post match. Okay. So we've got number 1, Keep CBU Wrestling. So now they're like parading their shirts after their matches. You know, so that's candidate 1. Number 2 is AJ Ferrari and the Splits. Number 3 is the Cody handshake. So Cody Mero with the speed handshake. Been fun to watch. It's got a good stick there, but honestly, I didn't have to wait for you to have a candidate here. There's only one of these that gets reposted by everyone in the community and draws comments, and like there is one obvious winner to the best post-match celebration, and that is AJ Ferrari.
You didn't put the Braden Davis upkick as honorable mention.
Yeah, I had the Braden Davis tantrum as but I removed that.
Right. We don't want to promote that.
Right. We don't want to promote that. This isn't Wrath. There's a future there though for Rage and Braden Davis and Wrath.
For sure. It'll be sad when the AJ Splits are gone.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this the year we say goodbye, or is he like got another year of eligibility?
Yeah, he's made noise about trying somehow.
Right.
He was like national champion in 2018 or something, and somehow he's still found at least some plausible legal way to wrestle again. This might be it. So you never know with
might
AJ.
Be it. So right, I feel like every match from now on could be his last, and he's gotta break out the splits at a heavy gate. All right, so toughest schedule. I didn't actually even like put candidates out there when I just started looking over like who was really in the streets and who wrestled the toughest schedule. It's obviously Iowa. They wrestled these are Wrestle Stats dual rankings, but they wrestled number 1 PSU. They wrestled number 2 Oklahoma State twice. They wrestled number 3 Ohio State University. They wrestled number 4 Iowa State. They're number 5. They wrestled number 6 Nebraska. They wrestled number 7 Michigan. I'm not sure. That's pretty high ranking for Michigan, but I didn't make it. They wrestled 10 Illinois, 11 Minnesota, 14 Missouri, and 18 Pitt. Went 12-6, so they suffered more losses than they had under Brands, but there is no questioning that they wrestled a brutal schedule for sure.
Yeah, hats off to them for scheduling.
Yeah, that's great.
Saying yes to the competition. Yeah.
They went to national duels. You know, they scheduled, Oklahoma State out of conference. Pitt. So yes, thank you Hawkeyes for all that fun wrestling. All right, so the top duels. So this was like based on top teams and competitiveness, I guess is like. So number 1, first finalist, I should say, Iowa versus Oklahoma State, number 1. So Iowa was spotting Oklahoma State 6 points because they didn't have a heavyweight, right? This was sort of the first weekend where we got to see Ferrari. I think we were pretty confident in his abilities because he wrestled a little bit last year. But then Indine was the X factor, and Indine won them this duel, right? So he had that 4-3 decision over Cody Merrill, and Cody Merrill shown to be a phenomenal wrestler, right? I mean, it was a very impressive victory, and more impressive as the year went on, and ended up winning by 2 points. And yeah, so that's candidate number 1. I mean, it created some great stories. I mean, and Dean's story kind of fizzled out and things like that, but it was exciting. Oklahoma State, the
Dean story.
Well, Caliendo lost, right? To Lockett. Caliendo lost to Lockett. So we got to see, right. And Dean's story is yet to be written.
Exactly. It just changed directions, and now there's going to be a sequel and maybe even more. Super
fun. I mean, this is where we really got to see those freshmen, competing for Oklahoma State and stuff like that. So it was a great duel, and Iowa won. The old guard. Now, Oklahoma State got their get-backs for sure. Number 2, NC State Cornell. This was pretty recently. So it was a 1-point duel. you could argue that the NC State wrestler could have been stalled out and disqualified in the last match, ran the whole time, and the ref just didn't give him the last stalling call. And obviously that would have flipped the duel, but that was certainly legitimate. But it's really, what settled this duel was really the Biskins joy match, right? And Biskins winning in overtime, sudden victory, and not tiebreakers. Oh, I hate tiebreakers. I mean, it was on a joy bad shot, I don't know. It's interesting. So anyway, final score is 1 point, but NC State jumped out to a 16-0 lead. So, that's another thing is like they really got run down, which is kind of fun to see in duels. We got this 16-0 and then like, So definitely like Chaparro Ruiz got that clutch win when he was down big and just kind of battled, got back. So great duel, man, very competitive. The last one was Cyhawk. Obviously, this is a big deal. This is the first time that Cyclones actually got Iowa in many, many, many moons. 20-some years, right? You had Gaetan defeating Patrick Kennedy, right? And I have to forget about that match because I keep picking Gaetan to win matches.
Right. Since then,
it's like, no.
It's even more like improbable that happened.
He's like the Cam Caffey, He beat like Gabe Dean one time, and you're like, oh yeah, pencil him in for a round of 16 now. Anyway, but obviously 12,000. Over 12,000 people in Hilton. Bonus points from Etchemindia.
That also created a viral moment because it was the goon at Casey's that got under MJ's skin.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, it was awesome, and this was on the flagship, right? This was on ESPN, right? I mean, and both duels at ESPN hosted were great, and both had Iowa on the short end of the stick for sure. But so those are your 3 duels. Any comments on those duels, Roy?
Yeah, I'll just say a little bit about each of them. The Iowa versus Oklahoma State #1, especially with that forfeit, and just looking at Oklahoma State's lineup. I thought Oklahoma State was going to win. I think I had picked them. So that was like a great win for Iowa. Something that's not on here on our finalists, but Iowa wrestled Ohio State in the finals of the NDI. And that was kind of like whoa, Ohio State's really good.
Yeah, I wanted to pick duels that were
close.
Competitive, right? I mean, obviously there were some great duels for Penn State fans, things like that. But
right, but sometimes, when you go into a duel and think it's going to be competitive and then it's not. Because Penn State, you're hoping like we got one way we might win it, and and like no, 40-0. So NC State versus Cornell, and I just love that 15 years ago, if you said that was like a really important duel for the season, you'd have been like, really? So
right.
Nice to see non-Big Ten schools being super relevant in the top 10 conversation. And it had that Joy's only loss of the year, Coy Biskins. Man, I just really impressed with him when I saw the NC State versus Stanford duel live when he majored in Valencia. Really impressive wrestler. NC State's really impressive. And then Iowa State versus Iowa. Oh, there's just so much history to that, and then it lived up to it, because sometimes the history is more than the this year, but I feel like this year really lived up to the whole thing. I will pick for the duel of the year Iowa State versus Iowa.
Cyhawk. Yeah, I think that would have been my pick as well, just with all the history and grandeur, and that was fun. It was a fun duel. Maybe not so much if you're an Iowa fan or something, but they've gotten plenty of them. I mean, it's been leading up, right? I mean, the last few years, you're like, Cyclones might get them this year, You're like, it's been like Lucy in the football for so long, and finally stepped up and got her done. So, right, on ESPN in front of 12,000 fans, so super cool. All right, so here we go. We got the regular season MVP finalists. So, first finalist for the regular season MVP is Younger Bastida, 21-0. He is the Tech Fall King for this year. He is 102-2 in takedowns, and he is 5-0 against the top 10. And there's a pretty solid crop of heavyweights this year. That is not a laughing matter. We have Jesse Mendez. Jesse Mendez is 19-0 with 17 bonus victories. He's pretty much, I put in there total domination. So he's just smashing dudes. And pretty excited to see him in Vega. Hopefully they hit, because I don't feel like anybody else in the world's got anything for Jesse Mendez. So, and he hit 100 career wins, and it's nice to see people in the streets,
Yeah.
Like to see people getting matches and getting out there and competing. So, and then third MVP finalist, Mitchell Messenbrink. So Mitchell is 19-0 with 100% bonus. He is the #1 pound for pound for Flow, and he owns 165. I mean, he is. Ever since David Carr left, nobody's really, come very close to Mitchell. So continued a long string of dominance. Those are your 3 finalists, Roy. Why don't you give us a little bit on each one?
This is hard to choose. Okay, Younger, Bastida. Man, there's something that really grounds your team if you know your heavyweight is like the guy,
Right.
And I got to see Iowa State versus Stanford, so I got to see one of his tech falls. So it's hard to argue with any of that. And I think there just is something to the heavyweight, even though they don't even start all at 125 all the time. Okay, Younger. Jesse Mendez. I mean, all these guys are undefeated.
Right.
But I think there's also something to Jesse Mendez just like really dominating. And he's not, and it's not all hard clubs. Like it's technique, it's everything, it's pushing the pace. I think that does have an effect on your team, knowing that you've got that guy there. I'm just in terms of MVP, since they are all undefeated, I'm thinking about how would it affect my team to have this guy on my team. And then Messenbrink, like 100% bonus rate.
Right.
And like, man, penciled in. I mean, as good as Younger and Jesse are, like, there's another undefeated heavyweight and there's another undefeated 141. And maybe we'll find out. But I don't see anybody coming. Like, he might bonus his way.
There is another undefeated 165. Blaze.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Blaze is still undefeated. We still got to see that. It's coming up this weekend, probably.
No, sorry. I misspoke because Blaze is legit.
Yeah, he is.
More than legit.
He's PSU really slayer. Took Kasich last year, right? He likes those PSU scalps.
Yeah. Oof. And if I'm thinking like, okay, I mean, they're all like, if you put them in a different season, they all could win. But since I got to pick one of these, like the person that like, dang, I wish that guy was on my team would be Jesse Mendez.
Jesse Mendez. All right. Congratulations, Jesse. You're the inaugural regular season MVP from the QuadR Wrestling Report. I would have went with Younger. I think that hammer at the end, you say like, oh, when it comes down to heavyweight and like you need like bonus, there's like only maybe one heavyweight where you're like, all right, we got because a decent, a top 20 heavyweight is really hard to bonus, right? But not for Younger. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and it's just like MVP, right? It's like you can take Mitchell out of the Penn State lineup and like they're still killing everyone, right? So it's sort of like hard to be the MVP, but he's certainly like, I would say, like, if we had an outstanding wrestler category, I think Mitchell Messenbrink would probably be, the outstanding wrestler for the regular season.
Yep.
He is, without a doubt. Generational guy. I mean, I'm super excited for him in Carr's battles and things like that and seeing what he does internationally. He seems to, like, still have the passion and still have the health, which is, like, big. All right.